Before I do that, however, there's another tragic anniversary that I have to highlight, a 10-year anniversary. For it's a little more than 10 years since that great 2 million strong anti-war protest took to the streets of London. And a little less than 10 years since the Labour government utterly ignored the views of those people and millions of others and started the Iraq War. A Guardian survey last week showed that 55% of Britons agree that the London marches were right, and that a war sold on a false prospectus delivered little but bloodshed. We know that the Iraqi people are still struggling and dying as a result of that war. Yet Ed Miliband, who has apologised for the Blair government's immigration policy, has failed to apologise for the decision to take Britain into an unjustifiable, bloody war. We're still waiting for Sir John Chilcot's report into the Iraq War. That's one landmark that we can expect future historians to look back on this year. Another may well be even bigger, a turning point. What I'll hazard a guess the historians will recall this year as is the year the British people said no more. Up and down the country, I found groups and individuals saying no more. No more to poverty wages, people working full-time, yet unable to meet the cost of even the basic necessities. People stuck in part-time jobs they can't survive on, unable to get more hours. People are saying no more to child poverty, children who go to school hungry, children who don't have a proper winter coat, children who can't go on that school trip that their peers will be talking about for weeks. People are saying no more to shivering pensioners, shivering under layers of quilts in drafty, cold homes that they can't afford to eat. People are saying no more, and we in the Green Party say no more. People are increasingly saying no more to 0 hours contracts, which trap workers in continuous uncertainty. Will they get 4 hours of work this week or 40? Will they be able to pay the rent? Will they be able to buy food? People are saying no more to workfare. The unemployed being forced into such educational roles as stacking shelves for Poundland, for not just low wages, but no wages at all. And people are increasingly saying no more to the demonisation of benefit recipients. They recognise that nearly all of us are only one medical incident, one traffic crash, away from disability, from depending on the support of the state. And none of us can be sure that our job is certain, that we won't find ourselves applying increasingly desperately for jobs where employers, getting hundreds or even thousands of applications, don't even reply to that application that you slaved over. Now, one group of people who are very firmly saying no more are the occupiers at the University of Sussex in Brighton, who I visited this week. Now, the people in the front rows, you might be able to see it at the back, can see that I'm wearing a little yellow rectangle, there you go, little yellow rectangle. That's the symbol of the support of the occupation. You'll see it all around the University of Sussex campus. There's yellow rectangles up in windows, stuck up, showing support all around the university. They're people who are saying no more, and we've got to say to them, we back you in saying no more. And so why are they in occupation? Well, we've seen the comprehensive failure of the outsourcing model, the dreadful litany of A4E, G4S, and the awful ATOS. Yet somehow the university administration thought they'd just sneak through a privatisation when no one was looking. They told the workers the day that they advertised the contract. But the student occupiers have said no, they're determined, they're there for the long haul, and well done to them. Another group saying no more to great effect is UK Uncut. I'm sure many people in this room took part in their action against Starbucks last year. That fast-growing but mysteriously totally unprofitable coffee chain that infests our high streets and by streets like a particularly pernicious weed. And another group saying no more are the bee campaigners. Just yesterday, I was at DEFRA, and Pippa Bartolotti over there, I know, was doing the same thing, presenting in a petition, a 41,000 strong petition against the pesticides that are killing our bees from causes.com. The petitioners, the organisers, are saying no more to putting the profits of chemical companies before the health of an essential link in our ecosystem and our food growing. And we in the Green Party say no more too. So many people and groups are saying no more. But sadly, mysteriously, one group that isn't saying no more is the Labour Party. Or maybe it isn't so mysterious, because all of their offering is more of the same that we had under 13 years of Brown and Blair. We know that it was Labour who championed the light touch regulation of the financial industries that the Tories have only continued. Labour who abandoned all interest in supporting manufacturing and farming and were content to allow the jobs, the cash, the people of Britain to concentrate more and more in the southeast corner of the country. We know that it was Labour who started the marketisation of the NHS that became the privatisation of the NHS. It was Labour who championed the undemocratic academy schools that have morphed into Michael Gove's free schools. It was Labour that dotted the country with immensely expensive but immensely profitable PFI schemes that today's babies will still be paying for when they are parents. And we know that Labour is failing to challenge the government's deeply divisive, deeply corrosive, deeply dishonest strivers versus shirkers rhetoric. We are living in a Britain in which the mistakes, the great errors of the past few decades haven't been properly acknowledged, let alone dealt with, even though they are glaringly obvious. We know the neoliberal model of a globalised economy in which we in Britain specialise in casino banking, arms sales to human rights abusing regimes and pharmaceuticals, while leaving it to the rest of the world to make our goods and grow our foods, has hit the buffers. This model has hit the buffers economically, and it's hit the buffers environmentally. We know that we can't keep living as though we had 3 planet Earths to exploit. Yet the Labour Party is content to mutter empty platitudes about being one nation, keep its head down, not apologise for the mistakes of the past, and not offer any change in direction, just in the hope that the incompetence and economic failings of George Osborne's Plan A of austerity will just deliver government back to them in 2015. And the Labour Party is particularly failing to speak up on the environmental issues that so desperately need attention. Indeed, when Ed Miliband gave his autumn conference speech in a hall much like this one, he entirely forgot to mention the environment. It's so important to him, he spent 6 weeks memorising his speech. But that part, the entire topic of the environment, slipped his attention when he was delivering his speech. Yet we only have to look around us here in Britain, look at the statistics, look at the fields, look at the woods, to see that this green and pleasant land is groaning under the strain of human exploitation. Scientists tell us that hedgehog numbers have declined by over 1/3 in just the past decade. Moths are fast disappearing. 3 species extinct in Britain this century, 62 extinct in the last. And sparrows. Remember city sparrows? Some of you at least are old enough. Those of you who are too young to remember them might want to ask your elders about when we had sparrows in our cities. And of course, the immediate environmental degradation that we see all around us in Britain is only a tiny part of a huge story. The despoilation of the earth, the threatening of our very future by human-caused climate change. It's no longer any question to any sensible, unbiased person that climate change is here now, today. Even traditional conservatives on the issue, from the International Energy Agency to the World Bank, are thoroughly convinced it's real. It's just about 1,000 days until COP21, the 21st session of the Conference of the Parties to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. That's when we're supposed to have an agreement to replace Kyoto, to come into effect by 2020. Yet we all know here in this room that we have to act today, act tomorrow, and act the day after. Take immediate, swift, direct action. We've got to act on climate change now.